The UK's immigration policy has reached a critical juncture, and it is no longer enough for politicians to pander to the whims of public sentiment or play the blame game. The question we must ask is not whether we should tackle illegal migration, but how we do so in a way that balances the need for security, humanity, and international cooperation. Labour's proposal to send rejected asylum seekers to return hubs in the Balkans is a bold and pragmatic solution to a complex problem. But make no mistake, this plan is more than just a policy shift. It represents a reckoning with the consequences of years of ineffective management and political inaction. The Labour Party's stance on immigration has always been mired in ambiguity. For years, it has swung between being perceived as soft on migration and reluctant to confront the urgent challenges of asylum seekers crossing the English Channel. In 2025, as the number of migrants attempting the perilous journey continues to rise, Labour finds itself at a crossroads. The recent proposal to establish return hubs in the Balkans is the party's attempt to take ownership of the situation and propose a more humane, efficient, and sustainable solution to an ever-growing crisis. Critics will argue that such a move could violate the basic human rights of asylum seekers or that it places too much burden on already struggling countries in the Balkans. Let's be clear, the status quo has been catastrophic. The small boats crisis has escalated, and the Home Office remains overwhelmed by the sheer volume of migrants crossing the Channel. The public is fed up, the system is broken, and the government is left scrambling for answers. Inaction is not a solution. Labour's approach is the only one that seems to offer a credible alternative. Sending rejected asylum seekers to return hubs in countries like Albania, Serbia, Bosnia, and North Macedonia is a reasonable compromise. These countries are willing to collaborate, and, in return, the UK would provide financial compensation for accepting these individuals. It's a pragmatic approach, one that acknowledges the geopolitical realities of migration while offering a level of fairness and efficiency. These hubs would process migrants after their claims have been rejected by UK authorities, ensuring that those who do not meet the requirements for asylum are not left indefinitely in limbo, as is happening now in the UK with over 42,000 asylum seekers awaiting appeal hearings. Moreover, the UN's endorsement of this plan should not be taken lightly. The International Organization for Migration Support lends credibility to the proposal, ensuring that the implementation process remains both humane and effective. Contrary to the hyperbole spouted by critics, this policy would not result in inhumane conditions or force countries to shoulder an unfair burden. It would be a shared responsibility between the UK and its partners, with international guidance ensuring that the process is as fair and transparent as possible. What this policy proposes is a clean break from the disastrous Rwanda plan, which offered no real solutions and merely shifted the problem to a country that was deemed unsafe by UK law. Rwanda was always an ill-conceived idea, rooted more in political expediency than practical solutions. Labour's Return Hubs plan, by contrast, is a clear departure from the failed Conservative approach, offering a far more reasonable alternative that addresses the root causes of the small boats crisis, the lack of proper immigration management and processing. Critics who claim that Labour's return hubs represent a moral failure are overlooking one crucial factor: the sanctity of the UK's legal and immigration system. We cannot continue to allow unchecked numbers of migrants to flood across the Channel, overwhelming our asylum system and placing an impossible strain on our resources. The policy is not about shutting the door to refugees, but about ensuring that those who seek asylum are processed fairly and efficiently. It is about creating a system that works, not one that simply allows migrants to game the system while the UK is left footing the bill. Opponents will argue that this is an unjust policy that infringes on the rights of vulnerable people. To those critics, we must ask, what other solution is there? The UK cannot continue to bear the brunt of the world's migration crisis alone. It is a global problem, and the UK must engage in international cooperation to resolve it. Labour's plan does just that. It builds partnerships with nations that are willing to participate, it provides them with the necessary resources, and it ensures that the UK's immigration system operates in a way that is both legal and sustainable. The idea that sending migrants to temporary detention centres in the Balkans is inherently wrong is rooted in a naive and unrealistic view of global migration. Every day, thousands of people risk their lives crossing borders, often without proper documentation, and it is inhumane to suggest that we should simply let them settle in the UK without processing their claims. The current system is broken, And we need a system that works not just for the migrants, but for the UK citizens who are equally affected by the strain of illegal migration. Ultimately, Labour's proposal is not just a policy shift, it is a necessary step toward taking control of a situation that has spiraled out of control. The opposition is likely to lash out, citing human rights concerns or the supposed dangers of a hardline approach. But in reality, what we're witnessing is an opportunity to create an immigration system that is fair, sustainable, and responsive to the needs of all parties involved. If Labour is serious about tackling the migration crisis, this is the way forward. The question now is whether the UK is ready for a solution that demands pragmatism, cooperation, and, above all, political courage.